Hey guys, and welcome to another Will It Run video, Trains with Shane on the I Saw It Online YouTube channel. I apologize for not being able to get this out last Monday, guys, but this thing was late on arrival. That's probably nobody's fault, but more than my own poor planning. So, what we've got here is a light Mikado, or a Santa Fe style 210-2, as some people call them. This one, Kansas City Southern, road number 220. It is a Bachmann Spectrum unit. Oh no, it's probably going to either burst into flames or crumble into dust the second we try to do anything with it. I did take a piece of foam out of the box already, just to make it easier to get out, because, well, you guys know, sometimes these steamers with all of their wheels and connected to a tender and everything can be pretty difficult to pull out of the box here. Let's get into it. Very used, as you guys can probably tell by the packing material in here. I got this off of eBay. It says that it's DCC equipped, so we'll look into that. Already I'm seeing a problem here. Let me zoom you in. You guys see what we've got here? Get my tweezers in here. Looks like we've got a couple of connecting rods that are no longer connected on one end. We've got part of the valve gear here flopping around. Rear drive rod also pulled off. And we can see the holes that some of these things go in. Notice the larger one here. If I were a betting man, this whole assembly is probably only connected in one, if not two places, and all revolving around this one wheel. Let's pull this thing out and see, because I don't think there's got to be some little piece that ties all this together. So let's look for that. I'm going to set this down and see if I can squeeze my little fingers in here and not destroy this thing getting it out. I am not used to handling steam engines, guys. You all know I'm a diesel man. I've only had two other steamers on this channel so far. One was the excellent little, very early Bachmann Docksider, and the other was the famous bait and switch 060, I think. Other side? Okay. Looks like we do have some more stuff here. We may be able to stick all this together with what is there. Looks like everything does slot into this center wheel, which is driven. That's interesting. But also another good thing about this is because one side is still attached, that shouldn't interfere with our quartering or anything like that, or our timing. Oh, nice. Doghouse in the tender here. Surprisingly well detailed. Yep, and like I said, this is a 210-2. Let's see if I can. The decals on here are pretty good. I mean, there's not many of them, but yep, Kansas City Southern. Local rail here, one that my great uncle and his son worked at for their careers in the railroad. This isn't as much of a review of details, but you know, since we're here. Cab details molded in. I've never been in one of these, so I don't know how accurate it is, and I don't have any pictures right here to look against. Separately applied metal handrails and stuff. You have to look past all the dust. I'll take care of that if and when I get this thing running. Pipes down there. See if I can, like I said, I apologize guys, I'm not sure on the best practice of handling these things. Separately applied rails all the way down the top, pretty neat. Looks like a headlight that probably works. Separately applied coupler disconnect levers or handrails or whatever these are on this particular engine. And let's see what we have on the back of. Carefully. Oh yeah, separately applied ladder, although it looks like it's plastic. Got our handrails on the sides. Coupler cut lever. Got our standard oversized magnetic pin connectors. I've never had a problem with them. So down to the meat and potatoes. Will it run? Good question. I'm trying to set this thing down as gently as I can. Yeah, you can tell by the sound that that was how gentle that was. Looks like we got some pieces in the box. We got our instructions. Looks like we've got a front coupler and a small piece here. Now, what is it and where does it go? Does this part go on the drive rods, or does it go somewhere else? Could be either or, but since we have ye olde instructions, Bachmann are usually pretty good about putting a parts diagram. Take a look here. Ooh. Sorry about that noise, guys. This piece of paper wanted to stay in the shape that it was. Please stand by one while I go through the parts breakdown here. First glance, it doesn't appear to be part of the tender. Geez, no wonder I've never really messed a whole lot with steam. Look at that parts diagram. Yikes. Well, at first glance, it doesn't appear to be part of the boiler jacket. Doesn't appear to be part of the details that are attached to the outside of the boiler jacket. Okay. Looks like, and I'm gonna have to double check. Right here in the middle, see part OAJ07, part of the front coupler assembly? That would make sense because the front coupler isn't installed. I didn't look to see if the screw is screwed into the box, but it probably is. I don't plan on running a front coupler anyway, guys, because I am not going to be double heading this or anything. So, okay, well, that mystery's solved. So, I'm never going to be able to get this this booklet back in the shape it was ever again. So, what do we do from here? Do we try to test the mechanics and see if it works before reassembling or trying to reassemble the rod system, knowing that our quartering should, air quotes, be all right? Or should we connect the rod system up first and then put it on the track so we know? Well, too bad I can't do a live poll on this type of thing, not in a normal video. So let's see if it runs. That's always a good starting point. So let me switch over to the switching layout, get our DCC++ EX stuff set up, or the NCE power cap, MRC power cap, NCE, I can never remember. It's a power cap. We'll get one of those set up, and I will bring you guys back, and we will find out what it does or what it doesn't do. All right, we have made room for the Inglenook switching layout, courtesy of Steve's Trains. Well, not courtesy, I bought it from him, but it was nice of him to allow me to purchase it because I don't think he was originally considering selling it. Go follow his channel, by the way. A lot of pretty neat layout stuff he does over there. Mostly in N-scale, but he does have a few HO scale things. So, as I said before, have our DCC++ EX set up with the wireless board, so I can just plug this in anywhere and connect it to my home network, so I can use my cell phone and still have my cell phone connected to my home network instead of using the Arduino itself as a hotspot by itself, which is really a neat idea for train shows and things like that. I'm using the SRCP client, which is free. It's not the most featureful thing in the world, but it's real easy to, add track power down here and stuff like that. So as you can see, track power just turned on. I've already got our locomotive programmed in here on the default 3. So let's move back. See if I can get just a better angle for you guys. Stand by. We can do better than that. Anyone want to be a cameraman? Okay. All right. Let's see if we've got live. We've got track power on, and there don't appear to be any shorts. Let's try F0. Looks like we have a working headlight. This is not a sound-equipped controller. This is just control only. So let's get right into... We're going to dial up a tiny bit of speed here. Very tiny bit. Because those the rods aren't connected. I'm less concerned about risk of a short because they're electrically isolated from anything on the other side. Okay, got a little forward movement. We're going to not go any farther than that so we don't twist a rod up into something. We're going to go reverse. Also a success. Sweet. Alright guys, well now we've satisfied the will it run portion. How about we take it back over to the disgusting workbench and see if I can put this Humpty Dumpty back together again. Okay guys, we've made our way back to the disgusting workbench here with our surgery subject here. I looked on the other side to see what stack these are in. There's two, as you can see, coming from here up at the front, and then the rear facing bar. On the other side, the stack order is the front one closest to the wheels, the rear one, the other one from the front, and then the pin on the end of this articulating piece here. In theory, simple, right? I'm not going to try to make it any harder than it should be, but yeah, even with that little dock switcher, I had to put back together the one side on. Man, not fun. So let's just get in and give it the old college try, as people say. All right. If I can gingerly separate these, I'm going to have to move this one up a little bit. We probably could have done a little bit better in clocking this guy down a little bit when I had it on the workbench. Let's see if we can make that work. Maybe not. This doesn't want to move, probably because it's, connected. And this ended up over here. This one goes to where it needs to. This one's a little off, and so is this one. This thing here doesn't matter as much because it's fixed only on one end and it's hinged, so we can articulate that around to be wherever it needs to be. Now, why I read over on Spookshow that the biggest problem with this particular locomotive is a timing issue. I'm sorry I won't be able to do this in the camera, guys. Okay, crisis averted. Let me get back down and... Guys, what's the best practice for picking these up? I'm putting the pressure here on the side of the boiler where these white stripes are. Come on. Okay. So, as it turns out, this slides. Can you tell I'm not a steam guy yet? Okay, so we can definitely slide that back to right there. Should probably make this as horizontal as I can get it, just to keep really hope I'm not putting undue pressure, trying to keep the rods on the other side in the valley here. If you hear me breathing in the camera, I apologize in advance for that. I'm not the steadiest. Okay. Okay, that was the one. Was that the one furthest back? Of course it wasn't. This is actually the last one we have to put on there. And that one doesn't have a whole big range of movement, so. Try to use the point on our Rick's pick here. Strange. We have a timing issue with the front wheel here. And what does that do? Does that even move? Appears to be fairly rigidly attached. Okay, this one slides, obviously. But it's this one here we're having trouble with. That should go in that hole. I mean, since we have a direct mirror of this on the other side, and it's all connected, in theory it should be in time. Or quartered correctly, whatever you want to call it. I think that maybe our front axle here might be in question. So I just picked it up. I want to see if, since this front axle isn't driven, or well, it's not geared, I should say. What the heck is that? Okay, see that attaches to the front axle as it does on the other one. But they're rigidly connected. But I need to figure out if I can just twist one side of it and almost a quarter turn. Our rear axle is in time. As we see by comparison on this other side, and I really hate having to hold this way. You guys can see the stack up there. All three axles connect, or rods, push rods, drive rods, whatever they're called. All three of them. Let's see, that one's bottom center, that one's bottom-ish center. And this one is top center. So, in theory, that's left, left. Should mean the other one should be bottom, 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 up. So if we reverse that, okay, bottom, bottom, up. So if these were at bottom, it'd be bottom, bottom, up, but we need to roll that back 90 degrees. So the front wheel should be aft towards the cab, at least as far as where the rod connects to it. And it is. So what's our problem? It says obviously not where it needs to be. What else? What am I missing here, guys? This bar doesn't shrink, does it? I mean, it's rigid, right? Is the bottom bar connected to something that reciprocates, just like... Let's see if we can get this guy out of the way. That guy out of the way. So this needs to go back, I mean towards the front of the engine, about this much. The only way I can think to accomplish that is to re-quarter the front wheel. Let me pause and fiddle around with this, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, guys, and I have updates. I figured the brute force approach might be our winner. Thankfully, I was able to take the bottom plate off, just plastic held on by 2 screws here and here. I didn't take apart any of the rods or anything. I wanted to try to keep the axles as much as I could in their orientation as set by the position of the ones that never came disconnected. What I was able to do is get back in here. One of these days I need to get a real camera for this and stop using phones. Well, it'll be in the budget one of these days. Maybe. I was able to pick this axle out, which thankfully isn't geared, so it's free floating. And I held the connected one, the properly connected. Words are hard today, guys. I was able to hold the wheel of the properly connected side and just brute force a counterclockwise rotation as you're facing it this way, which indexed the end of that rod around. And if we go back over here to the side, which is not so hot, here is our rear, our frontmost facing lower rod. As you can see, we're lined up with the hole. So let me get the plate put back on, get all this Chotkas flipped back around, and I'll bring you guys back after that so we can finish putting this thing back together, hopefully. Alright guys, we're flipped back to our original side here. As you can see, I've already started to stack the rods, and we're looking much better than we were. And now, hopefully, all that's left is this last little rod here. Of course, I'll probably have to do this 47,000 times. I wish I had a little pair of tweezers that had to adjust manually. So, in theory, I should be able to finagle that around. And get that whole business to slide into this What I don't have is the steadiest hands on the planet. It's probably for the best that I didn't become a surgeon. Maybe I'm going about this all wrong. Maybe I just need to stack the Okay, where did our other rod go? Is it already in there? The pin capture it already? I apologize, guys, but I'm gonna have to get you out of. I'm gonna have to get this out of camera shot because I need to be side in on this. yeah, are jostling around with this pin. I got the stack out of sequence, so. It is not helping very much that there is not a lot of side-to-side play. Did it again. I know how I would do this if I had good access to both sides of it. I'd line them all up and stick a toothpick through them. But if I do that this way, it all comes crashing down. It also doesn't help that I have an iPhone right in my face right here. But if at first you don't succeed, people love it when people make a fool of themselves on YouTube. I really wish I had a straight pin or a dissecting needle. See, that is as far as I can lift that. It's captured by those pieces. Indexed pretty close. Okay. So got all three of those captured by the toothpick here. No, I do not. Alright guys, I'm going to turn off the camera here for a minute and get this thing up in my teeth and see if I can make it work. I'll be back. Alright guys, I managed to squeeze it back together. It was really just a matter of getting it, you know, up close and being able to turn it and see the vertical orientation of them and getting that little I don't know what it's called in locomotive terms, maybe the valve gear or something like that. Whatever whatever this piece is here that has a little pin on it that swivels on a little arm that like is counter to the stuff. I don't know. It's been a hard week, guys, and a busy week, especially work. Work was not good this week. But, you know, we do what we got to do. So, what do you guys say about getting over to the switching layout again and see if we've got something to celebrate? Alright guys, we are back and test it out. The only thing I'm really concerned about is if I don't have that quartering spot on, it might bind up. But we'll figure it out, and if it doesn't work, I'll just adjust it again. Yep, we have a stop. Let's change direction. Well, looks like I was afraid of that. So we got our rods connected, but our quartering is out just enough to bind it up, which is strange because it's the same on both sides. It's probably just off by maybe a few degrees, I would think. Let me make some adjustments and we'll come back. Alright guys, we are back again. I certainly have big respect for the guys that work with these little steam engines. You don't have these kind of problems with diesels, obviously. You have an axle. It's either powered or it isn't. It isn't connected to anything else. You didn't have to worry about it being perfectly clocked because, electricity. But yeah, I've got this thing working. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's as good as I'm probably going to be able to get it. I'm probably not really going to be running this thing a whole lot. I just got it because it's Kansas City Southern. So let's see what we've got. Got our headlight on already. Let's dial up some current here. And we're moving. It stumbles a little bit going through certain turnouts. I probably just need to clean some contacts and stuff like that, but even at low speed, it does pretty good. Let's stop it and bring it back. And then back again. Let's give her some onions. Slow her down a bit. Bring her back. So running pretty well for now. Not sure if I'm going to take the little what do they call that? A compression fit, slip fit, friction fit. That's what it is. That friction fit pin in the middle that holds all the rods in place. I may put a tiny little drop of super glue in there, but I'm reluctant to do it. I guess I'll only do it if and when it becomes a problem. So, man, That was a rough one, folks. I probably will not be in the market to buy any more steam locomotives. Not in the near future, anyway. Just because other than the making it run aspect, it's the rod work and the valve work and stuff that kills you on these. And in N scale, I'm stretched to my limits of what I can physically do with these things, I think. I'm just a little too, not shaky, but like if I'm working on something, I'll have a tendency to like jump or something and mess it up. I can get stuff down pretty fine, but chances are I'll do a little jerk or something like that. Hopefully I don't have Parkinson's or something. Anyway, guys, with that, I want to thank you for tuning into another kind of a long one here on Trains with Shane. I kind of in some not terribly unfamiliar territory because you guys remember we had that little dock switcher. But the thing about the dock switcher was it's only 2-axle, and as such, you know, there's really not a whole lot to get clocked in the right direction because both axles were driven, so there wasn't any risk of anything like binding up because something was off from something else, because they were both always rotating at the same speed regardless. They didn't, because they were both geared, and it didn't require the movement of the rods like a couple of the axles do on this one for power. I think that's kind of a not great system for scale stuff. The bigger the bigger the unit, HO or O or G scale or what have you, the tolerances can be a little bit looser due to the amount of material you have to work with. I mean, when you've got a rod that's, 3 millimeters thick, then it's got a hole in it, and then you have to put a pin through that hole, there's not a lot of wiggle room for a good sloppy tolerance to make sure that it runs right. So it's just one of those things, I guess. But I don't drink, but I need a drink. And also, guys, a little bit of funny stuff happened. If you may not see links to my videos on as many N-scale model railroad Facebook groups, there was, and I don't know what this guy's problem is, but there was a discussion on one a couple of weeks back where he seemed to have a problem with us uploading or posting links to our YouTube videos, even if it's just an instructional or a tutorial like this. And he posted a poll, what do you guys want to see? The vast majority says they don't care, as long as it's useful and beneficial. And so Monday comes up, I post vehicle, not 10 seconds, but a few minutes later it's gone and I'm blocked from the group. So, it's, people have their reasons, I'm sure. I wasn't contacted or warned or anything, just done. So, you guys will have to find me either be subscribed to the channel or be on other Facebook groups that aren't ruled like that. But when stuff like this happens, I always remember a quote. It says, always give your best, never get discouraged, never be petty, but always remember that others may hate you. But those who hate you don't win unless you hate them, and then you destroy yourself. So with that little piece of wisdom, guys, I want to thank you for joining me on this Will It Run episode of Trains with Shane. Turns out, thankfully, it will, because so far this is one of the more expensive gambles I've taken lately. Also, updates on some of the other stuff. The Atlas, the DCC Sound -8, I sent that off to Atlas a couple of weeks ago. They said it could be 6 to 8 weeks before I get it back, so no updates yet on that. What else? I don't really know. Pretty sad state when I only got one update for the channel. For those of you who aren't here just for the trains and also like some of the mechanical stuff that we do, possibly we'll have an update video on the first video I posted, which was the Suburban Will It Run video. Trying to get some things lined up. A friend who is I wouldn't call him a professional mechanic because that's not what he does for a living, but as a side business, he does quite a bit of stuff, including full builds and off-road stuff. He's agreed to help me with the clutch in the Suburban because both of you who watched that video know that we got it to run, but the clutch is totally dry. There's no hydraulic fluid in it. It uses just .3 brake fluid from what I read on the internet, so that must be true. He knows how to bleed them. It's a kind of a tedious process, but he has agreed to come help out. So since the weather is turning a little bit better now, and except for golf ball sized hail every Monday for the past 3 weeks, there's a promising future for that. So with that, guys, I'd like you to stay safe, and I will catch you on the next one.